On Saturday morning, we're got a project going here. We're gonna take this 35 Chevy coupe, 5-window, and we're gonna put it on this Corvette chassis. We got the rear sitting here. We're gonna start by cutting this thing up so we got a little bit more room in the Corvette chassis. And here we go. So when we got this thing, I bought this car, oh man, probably 95?
95?
Yeah, somewhere around there. 92.
No, you had it before I moved here.
93? I don't know.
Must have been 92, 93.
Yeah. Anyway, he ended up selling it to Mike, and he's had it for another, I don't know.
15 years.
Yeah, sold it in like 07 to Mike. So anyway, now we're actually going in on it together and gonna build something out of it. When I got it, it had this Mustang front end that was it was put on there okay, but like the control arms didn't really clear the frame, so we're gonna have to do something about that. But I would have done it before I mounted the front end. I would have just mounted it where the control arm wasn't in the frame. But anyway, I'm gonna find out all about how difficult it is to mount something else that doesn't belong in there by mounting this Corvette chassis in here. So we'll see how it goes, and then whether am I talking shit about how it's mounted is just or not.
But this front end looks hokey.
Yeah. All right, we got the front end hacked off this thing. We're working on getting this stuff put on for we got to put this piece back on so we'll have our shock tower on the Corvette front end. Right, so we had to build the front end down here, and this part here, this part here is right here is where the sway bar goes, which we're going to have to fix that nut there. It's stripped or broke loose anyway, which we probably should have fixed earlier, but we didn't.
I should have put it in there.
Well, I know. Well, we didn't. That's what I was saying when we were doing it. I was saying we should have put that nut in first, but we can put it in. There's a slot in the side. It's no big deal. We'll come right in through there for our nut. Right? Won't be a problem. So anyway, we got to make this other one. This is our other side. So we got to make that look like that. Get the back end cut off here. Make it all even, and we'll weld it back on there for our structural on the.
Welded?
Put it on here, yes. Yeah, it's going to be welded on. It's got to be. It's going to be part of the structure. Because this part here has got to come out of here.
Yeah.
All the way back to, on some of it, all of this is going to come out on part of it. So we're going to have to strengthen it up probably more than what this is going to give it. But we'll figure it out. And it'll have the 35 frame to strengthen it up too, so anyway. All right. Will the battery go dead? Well, here we're putting this Corvette frame back on this. Well, a piece of the Corvette frame here onto this Corvette suspension. So in order for it to fit on this frame here, we're going to have to cut away this part here, because that's where that frame needs to go. So we're increasing structural integrity out here to make up for what we're losing here on this side. Got these old pieces of Corvette frame welded back on here. Right, it's kind of part of the structure. You can see my bird shit all over the place. We'll clean that up, make it look a little better. There might be some more stuff. I'm sure there might be some more strengthening up that we're going to want to do. But we've got to cut it away. You can see I got these lines marked here. This is how much of this frame we've got to cut away on this end. And then on this end, we got to come all the way, we're going to have to come way back into this weld, like maybe back to here, in order to clear the width of the frame for it to fit in here. So anyway, we're going to start. I think we're going to use the die grinder to do that. Although, I don't know, the plasma cutter might be the thing to use there too. Anyway, we'll get this cut out. We're not going to bore you with watching us do that. Alright, so we got the frame notched out here for the 35 frame to go into. Alright, so you can see we cut almost completely the Corvette frame away. There's just one wall that was the Corvette frame, but the rest are the original subframe. This is the original frame off the Corvette right here. Anyway, here we go. We're going to slide her on there and see if it works. We cut out the front of this frame to fit onto the frame there. The only place we could cut it where we could clear the steering rack, right? And when we got it all together, the thing was going to sit way too high off the ground. So anyway, we're cutting away here as much as we can to lower the frame in the Corvette chassis, and then we're going to have to cut the frame because the steering rack's going to be right in the way. So anyway, and we'll get our correct height out of the deal anyway. I was hoping not to cut the 35 frame, but we're just going to have to get the right height we're going to want. Anyway, off we go. Alright, so anyway, we put together this template, right, the shape of the front of the frame, and we figured out where we need to notch it in order to lower this frame down into this Corvette chassis to get us kind of the low front end height that we want, right? And we're going to try to make it fairly comparable to what the Corvette ride height was, right? So we'll make the 35 frame equal with the Corvette ride frame, the ride height. So anyway, we got that cut out so it fits in there, and we marked out on the frame over here. We just laid it up against the frame and marked it out. I'm going to cut it out. All right, so we got this thing where we want it, so we'll kind of give you a demo of the ride height it's going to be at. We had to hack pretty good on the 35 frame to get it where it's at, but you know what? I figured it'd be right about there is going to be the height it'll be at. So anyway, there's kind of what the car will look like, if you can tell anything by this angle. Anyway, you can see we had to cut away significantly here, right? This has got to clear the control arm, so we had to take that out. We probably should take a little more of that out of there, I'm thinking, looking at it on second glance. I think we'll take it right up to here on both sides for clearance on that control arm. But anyway, then we're going to have the rack's going to be in the way, so we don't know if a punching a hole may work. We're not sure. We'll get the rack mounted in there, if it'll even mount in there with the frame welded in, and whatever we have to do, we'll do it, you know, cut away what we have to cut away, make it work. Anyway, our ride height's much better. It would have been, you can see we cut a good probably 5 inches out of there off the ride height, so 5 inches in the front, that's huge. That's four-wheel drive to fucking Porsche, you know. Anyway, there we are. We'll wait for the next step.